Somewhere in South Texas, Elon Musk wakes up in a town that he controls, governed by his own employees, drives past a giant golden bust of his own head, and thinks, you know what this needs? More money for me. And look, I used to ask whether or not this guy wakes up every morning and says, how can I be more like a cartoon supervillain? I'm done asking, because he totally does. He 100% totally thinks he is a cartoon supervillain. And if you didn't already know, there's a city down there, Starbase, Texas, population around 500. Most of them work for SpaceX. And last year, they voted to incorporate as a city, 212-6. Kind of margin that you'd expect when everyone is on the payroll. The mayor, a SpaceX vice president. The city promptly sending some residents a memo saying that they may, quote, lose their right to continue using, quote, end quote, their own property under new zoning. The state of Texas handed the city the power to close beaches, public beaches, for rocket launches over the objections of locals, fishermen, environmental groups, and yes, even a native tribe. There are gated streets. And yes, there is again a giant bust of Elon's head out by the road like it's some evil Easter Island or something. And Starbase is purely a company town like the 1890s coal baron stuff. Seriously, America wrote labor laws specifically because of towns like this. And yet Elon gets to rebuild one with a gift shop. But that's just the warm-up act. Because now, Elon came for the rest of us. You probably saw all of the headlines, SpaceX goes public. It's the biggest stock market debut in history. They were originally valued at $1.77 trillion, instantly one of the most valuable companies in America. And they officially minted Musk as the world's first trillionaire. And what does this $1.77 trillion company look like under the hood? Glad you asked. Because SpaceX disclosed in their own IPO paperwork that it's lost $41.3 billion since it was founded. It lost money last year, while taking in $18.7 billion in revenue. And when it comes to economic numbers, I go to Paul Krugman. He's the Nobel-winning economist, and he looked at all of this. And he said that Elon Musk is essentially running a human Ponzi scheme. The stock goes up because people believe that he's a genius, and then people believe that he's a genius because the stock goes up. Round and round we go, but in reality, Elon is a total loser. His companies are losers. And he is a loser that can buy his way out of any loss. And that is where this gets tricky. Because the genius reputation that he's actually built on promises that he never keeps. He said by 2025, you'd ride to work on a Hyperloop. There are 0 working Hyperloops. The Boring Company of his would tunnel under our cities. It has dug essentially nothing commercial. He said we'd have fully self-driving robo-taxis everywhere. There's a handful in Austin. Meanwhile, while Google's Waymo quietly expands in city after city. He's promised brain implants for the masses, a Mars colony by 2025. We're not on Mars, folks. He wanted to nuke Mars, by the way. Really. Instead, we're standing outside of Brownsville, Texas, looking at Elon's golden head, and his empire is nothing but nesting dolls. Seriously, think about it. He bought Twitter, chased all the advertisers out, lost a bunch of money, and turned it into what the Wall Street Journal called the worst buyout for banks since the financial crisis. So he takes Twitter and stuffs it inside of his AI company. And then that AI company, whose chatbot once proudly renamed itself Mecha Hitler, really, got stuffed inside SpaceX, the one business that was actually making money because of Starlink. Every failing company gets swallowed up by a bigger company like a turducken of debt. Turducken, man, that sounds good. But anyway, this is where you come in. Whether or not you said yes, and again, what is it with the right wing and consent? Anyway, historically, the big stock indexes, they make a company wait for about a year after their IPO before adding it to those indexes. Things like the NASDAQ 100 and the FTSE Russell, they changed their own rules to wave SpaceX in almost immediately. And why does that matter? Well, because when a stock joins an index, every index fund on earth is required to buy it. More than half of American households own mutual funds. More than half of those mutual funds sit in index funds, which means that your 401k, your kids' college fund, your boring little retirement account that you should never look at is now buying shares of Elon's money, and they're buying it in the money-losing rocket turducken automatically. Normally, a run-of-the-mill Ponzi scheme at least wait for you to sign up. You got drafted into this one. Now, fortunately, the S&P 500, credit where credit is due, refused and said that they're going to wait the full year like the rules say. Thank God there are rich banker people that have some morality. I think. Hell, I'm not an economist. But remember, none of this works without Washington's approval. Donald Trump's administration has spent a year strong-arming federal agencies, including the Pentagon, to adopt Musk's products. And Wall Street is openly betting that the government has Elon's back no matter what. The real product here is Elon's insider influence. His rockets, set dressing. And do me a favor, hit that notification icon, because the next time I tell everyone that Elon is taking over your accounts and creeping into your retirement, I hope you'd want to hear about it.